First break for the Kiwis. Nice little pop. Medium plus speed, just like the Spaniards. It's very likely that today, on day 2 of the World Cup of Pool, the balls will be sitting better when racked for the break, meaning that they'll open up more consistent, which means that I expect matches to open up. The 2 ball is tied up between the 6 and 4, doesn't have a pocket. There's no bank available either. So what they now look at is to play a position from the 1 to the 2 for a safety.
Teams historically from the Southern Hemisphere, teams like Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, in this case yesterday Chile, have not particularly pulled up any trees in the World Cup, but there's always time for a first. That said, if the Philippines were to be beaten, it would be quite a major upset.
The 2 ball still exposed, but blocked. The path to the pocket is blocked. So that's a good enough safety. And New Zealand last year lost the deciding rack against Scotland. Matt Edwards played with Thor at the time. But Teucher definitely will bring in some experience. He has played in the World Cup of Pool. He has played European Championships. Works together with Matt Edwards. Actually, Matt Edwards is his boss. Edwards is a sports bar, billiard supplies company. Difficult for Beato to play killer safety here. And that sits nicely for Edwards and Teucher. It's all about the 3 ball. Play the 3 ball well, get on the 4, and it could be smooth sailing from there. Beato took on a difficult 2 ball, and you'll see many top players do it, especially Van Boning from USA. When posed with a difficult position for safety, they they refuse to play containing safeties. They rather go for a shot and take their chance to win the rack.
Well, now this is a realistic opportunity for New Zealand to make the desired start.
I noticed Teucher has lengthened his backswing. I've worked with him a lot as a trainer. I didn't mention it to him. It's not the sort of stuff you want to mention to players. Hey, I noticed you changed this or that. Makes him too aware. There was one guy in the Netherlands when I played a long time ago, 15, 20 years ago. He was dangerous, and when I knew I had to play him 2 rounds later, I'd mentioned something like, hey, you're playing well. I like the way you stun the ball.
Yeah, I played a local snooker league match many years ago, and my opponent before we started said, by the way, do you look at the object ball or the cue ball when you're playing? I'd never thought about it, and it completely scrambled my brain, and apparently he did that to everyone he played. It was a great tactic. It worked with me. I was all over the place.
Actually, I had dinner the other night with Teucher and Edwards, and they talked about, I forget his name, the Kiwi player from New Zealand who participated in the World Championships organized by Matchroom in Kaohsiung in 2004. He's a master psychologist shark. Was even breaking behind his back the whole tournament at the World Championships just to get in the opponent's head.
Well, New Zealand look as though they've caught a break here. The All Blacks moved into the black by taking a 1-0 lead over the mighty Philippines.
A reminder that the World Cup of Pool features 32 pairs from around the globe, including 2 from the host nation China, in a knockout format with the opening round matches a race to 7, the winner breaking and a 30-second shot clock in operation, with each team allowed 1 extension per rack. We rejoin play in the second rack. New Zealand broke, sinking the 6th ball, Marco Tocha at the table.
He's checking the positions for a push out. So he'll roll out the cue ball to any position on the table. Then the Philippines will come in with the option to play or to give back. And you really should not respect any team or any player too much. Play the push out. Force him to play something difficult.
Well, it's a game within a game. Pushing out, and against the Philippines, normally a game that the opposition loses, but on this occasion,
well, he catch the roll there if they don't see the 1. So that's exactly what I tried to mention. Marco Teucher did not overly respect them. He left him a long shot. Cue ball was not on a rail. Go ahead, have a go. And the Luna underhit the ball. Didn't strike it well and lost the cue ball. It spun out. This could be huge if they run out from here. 3 ball to the side pocket goes, but it's tight. And there's 2 ways to miss a ball. You can execute a good strike and barely miss it, or you can break down during the execution, and that's what happened to the Luna. And that will plant a seed of doubt. Very tight to the side pocket. He has an angle to go into the 3 if he were not to like the pot to the side. Should be good enough.
well, I think that underlines just how tight these middle pockets are, because it looked on your screens simple enough, but down there I can assure you it wasn't. A degree of accuracy was needed. He shouldn't have missed it, we know that, but that was not a gimme.
Well, still better to miss that type of shot now than in 40 minutes from now when it's 5-5. The good thing about doubles play is that there's someone sitting beside you to comfort you, because that's the difficulty when playing alone. You go back to your chair and you tend to sulk about that flawed shot.
Although, as you told me, Alex, over the years in this tournament, there have been teams that have two players who don't particularly get on with each other, and that's a different dynamic entirely.
Yeah, there have been some examples. I don't think this year there are any that I could think of. But, you know, it's imaginable, the number 1 and 2 of a country that don't go well together.
Look at that, the artistry of the Filipinos.
Still good. De Luna, one of the few younger Filipinos who has that big swing, big feathers. Opa, the 9-ball wiped his feet but still went. They take their opening rack.
Welcome back to the Luwan Arena in Shanghai for the 2018 World Cup of Pool. It's the opening round and three-time winners, the Philippines, are currently one apiece with New Zealand. The number 4 seeds started to show their class in the third, breaking and running out the colours to move into a 2-1 lead. The New Zealanders remained seated in the fourth as the Philippines once again broke and remained at the table throughout. A tough safety left by the Philippines was missed by Marco Teucher of New Zealand, allowing the three-time winners to return to the table and claim their fourth successive rack. The Philippines' relentless charge continued in the sixth, with another confident break and run-out, moving them to within 2 racks of victory. The seventh began with the Philippines sinking the 2-ball on the break and quickly following it with the 1-ball. After 4 minutes of safety play, both teams find themselves still chasing the red. Commentary comes from Phil Yates and Alex Laley.
Straight back bank on the cherry.
Turning the tables.
Yeah, they attack. They attack. That's it. If you play the top guns, you have to be more aggressive. I'm not saying it's easy. I don't say you always have the opportunity, but knowing that they will.
That, though, was technically deficient. He really dipped into that shot awfully. Lots of upper body movement. The head was all over the place.
Second time, De Luna breaks down during the execution of the stroke, just like on the 1-ball in the second rack. Big stroke now required for Matt Edwards. In the back, his girlfriend. Ooh, this is going to be a difficult shot for Teucher. Because of the new cloth, the spin doesn't grab as much into the ball and into the cloth on the rail. So what I'm trying to say that it would be very difficult to come back past the 8-ball. I think he'd better go up and down, center ball, and leave a cut shot on the 7. Like so. Like so. Dividing the weight of the shot over 2 shots. Now, where does he play the cue ball? Check it in between the 8 and 9. Cut a ball, the 8. Cut a ball, bank a ball. Looking at the cutting angle. Needs to spin the cue ball, played with left spin to come around the angles.
That's not the end, but it could be the beginning of the end.
If the table's breaking soft, races to 7 is often about 2 mistakes, 2 missed shots. The first one will make your opponent run away. Missing the second one will eliminate your chance of a comeback. missed shots by De Luna and Beato. A lifeline. A lifeline.
And Beato not disguising his disgust. Thrusting the butt of his cue into the floor powerfully. Really unhappy.
No, good shot. Matt Edwards banks the 8. Winning 9 for Teucher, and they'll get that second rack on the board.
Philippines still lead and are in a strong position at 5-2, but New Zealand can get on a roll.
A break and run out in the 8th saw New Zealand win their third rack of the match. A huge miss on the 4-ball by New Zealand's Marco Teucher gave the Philippines the opportunity to run out the colours and move within one rack of victory. This is now the 10th. Jeff De Luna to break.
Ooh, mishit it. Quite a few mistakes by De Luna in this match. Coming from the Philippines, there's also pressure. If you're the next in line to represent your country, the next in line after all the greats, there is pressure.
I think the obvious parallel would be something like a footballer from Brazil. They've had so many great teams over the years. Every time they turn up at football's World Cup, massive expectations.
Or an All Black for New Zealand in rugby.
And that is a better example, considering who we've got involved. By the way, folks, Alex Lely knows all about rugby. He's a Dutch rugby international.
I don't know what that means, but I like the game and I've played it 15 years. Still played on the beach. Dutch rugby though. Good shot. He's not happy. Now on this slick cloth you can drag the ball, you can hit below center and smooth stroke it. The alternative is to roll it with spin, which is not a nice shot to play.
Of course, the key for Teucher here is to try and not dwell on his terrible mistake on the 4-ball in the previous rack, but that's much easier said than done.
And the thing is, you cannot really punch this ball unless you go to the second long rail. That would be far sought. That's exactly what he tried to do to avoid that tricky little shot.
And what magnifies the pressure is that the New Zealanders know their next mistake will probably be their last mistake. And that, frankly, did not threaten.
One good shot required from the 4 to the 5. And then the Kiwis will have an illusion less. I want to experience more. Cut to the side pocket will make the cue ball to collide with the 6. If they played with draw to avoid the 6, they'll need to play it with more speed, making the shot somewhat harder. Did it nice. Crisp. There's enough to think about for De Luna after this match, but with a chance to do better in the next.
Yes, as Alex told us, Jeffrey De Luna, known as the Bull. Carlo Biardo, his nickname is the Black Tiger. They're the kings of this jungle, it would appear. But one has to say, it's not been a flawless performance by any means.
Sometimes praisingly called the lunatic when he's breaking full force, because he comes in the air with both feet, Jeff De Luna, if he gives it his all.
And if this 9-ball goes in, De Luna will be over the moon. The Philippines, the giants of Asia, have won it by a score of 7-3, a very popular scoreline so far in this World Cup of Pool.